Yeah. Sorry, what's up, guys? Win. What's up, guys? Welcome back. It is our final day. Right here for the Trick or Treat PUBG Mobile North America. Getting ready to see what all our teams are going to be doing. Of course, it is that final opportunity to see all that extra bit of grinding to come to the final conclusion. Of course, for today, we are going to be making our way through our glorious 3 maps once again to see where the teams are going to be ending up. We know day number 1, it was quite a bit of excitement, especially coming through there for Dope, right? Picking up a nice steady positioning with 45 points to their name, but not having a single winner chicken dinner just yet.
Yeah, the Dope Esports, we talked about it. They kept finding themselves in some very tough situations. The 2v3s that just went in their favor. They didn't have cover to work with. They had a lot of uphill battles, quite literally. So very good to see that they are still reaping the benefits, though, from those top 3 placements, finding themselves those 45 points. And it's a nice gap, and it's good to see them in first position, but it's only 6 points, DK, that is currently keeping them safe.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very close position, you know. So the pressure is going to be on for today to see what they're going to be able to do and whether or not they'll be able to close any of those gaps, right? Maybe widen the gaps, right? It could be any of the aforementioned. But I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what they'll bring in. We did see them, of course, work their way through their respective qualifiers. And this is what they're working for, right? They're working for their share of that overall prize pool, with it starting at $1,000 for that pole position. So a lovely treat coming through. And then the treats continue all the way to 7th and 7th.
Can't forget about that MVP as well, picking up an extra $200. So we said it, in a perfect storm, if a team is going to be taking first and the MVP, they get themselves $1,200. But obviously, the MVP has to be rolling in with that cash. So trick or treat, it is going to be up to these teams to see what they will be getting out of this tournament.
Yep. It is going to be quite an exciting run, though, because we're going to be heading into Erangel for our very first match, and it's going to be the opportunity for teams now maybe to rectify what they felt was lacking in their performance yesterday, looking to piece it all back again tomorrow. And just to remind you where our teams are situated on the overall rankings, of course, we can see Dope sitting there, or Dope rather, sitting there on 45 points today. Boat is down on 14th place with 11 points. So, you know, there's a little bit of a gap to try and move up through, but especially if we look at the teams sitting in that 2nd to, I'd even go as far as to say 6th place, right? Yeah, we could still see quite a bit of a change, quite a bit of a movement come through from that. But also, essentially, it's going to be a fight for that 7th and 8th position, as we know that's where the prize money goes towards, right?
Yeah. That is the entry line. If you're not going to be getting yourself into the top 8, you won't be getting any money. You won't be getting any of those absolute tricks and treats that were really working your way from the tournament. So needing to get themselves up into that line. So right now, GR Esports being the gatekeepers of some of that ka-ching, only with 19 points, however. And we talked about this, you know, Dope Esports over to Old Gangsters. It's a 6-point lead. We take Old Gangsters down to Extreme Slayers, only a 4-point lead, then a 1-point, then a 3-pointer, then a 1-pointer. It's so close. So 3 more maps today could change this up entirely. It's going to come down to that consistency, and Dope Esports right now, with 0 winner chicken dinners, holding pole position, they have been the team to beat.
Yeah, they definitely have been the team to beat, and I mean, they've been showing that consistency, as you've mentioned already. So the pressure is going to be on. But of course, as we know, we're going to be starting with that pressure over on the lovely Erangel itself. Curious to see where that flight path is going to be going and where our teams are going to be having to rotate towards once we make our way into that very first zone shift. I mean, ideally, we want to see a little bit of something that is, I'd maybe say, you know, a little bit more extreme-ish, right? The teams having to work to get themselves positioned. But, you know, if it's a nice complementary zone, I don't think I'm going to be too disappointed.
Nah, look, let's give these teams the opportunities. It would be nice to have a little bit of you know, trick or treat action chaos moving on into a wrangle. Who knows? We might still see a little bit of an interesting zone. But for the time being, I mean, we're going to just be heading over to that northwestern position. So plenty of opportunities for teams to take their usual drop sites. And speaking of drops, yesterday the hot drops were on fire the entire day. Teams were trying to set dominance map in, map out. So expecting more of that today is going to be the question mark.
Yeah, I mean, that is indeed going to be the question mark, right? Of course, if we look back to what we had yesterday, the day started with that very southern zone. So, yeah, I want to see how that kind of comes through today. I mean, today it's a little bit of a different situation, right? It takes that move all the way up into the northwestern territory. So the team's definitely having to work, especially if we look at the players there from Mazexes. We got Bope, as well as the players from Extreme Slayers dropping into those more eastern positions. So there is going to be a little bit of work that needs to come through if they want to get themselves into good position come the western side.
Hey, we've got to get it on in. So plenty of opportunities, like we said, opportunities now for teams to close that gap. And we're going to be waiting for that because we know Dope Esports, they are ahead. But for how much longer is going to be the question. Meanwhile, Bope Esports, or at least a trip from Bope Esports, will be spotting out a few bits of information over towards level X. And a great opportunity now to get a few extra early eliminations if the rest of Bope can make that rotation in.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not quite sure how long that immunization is going to stand, though, as we do see the rest of the Bope, Bope team, you know, struggling with the Bope dope setup yesterday. But the rest of the Bope team, I mean, they don't seem to be too phased by the presence of level X. I mean, yeah, sure, we've got that frontline position being held here by Trip, but as we can see, Fuego also getting ready to get into a bit of an altercation there with Shadow. So it does seem like Bope brother definitely have this, this under control, taking it nice, cool, and collected.
The irony of this, right, is that Bope Esports currently in 15th, Level X Esports, well, they're in 14th. So both of these teams have found one another, and the only way for them to move it up, the only way for them to get closer to that top finish is to take one another out. So this is a very close and contentious opportunity for both teams. This engagement either way could mean a very good start to a wrangle. We know it's only 3 more maps, so Alphalia are going to be going on in, finding Shadow GT fairly easy, especially with the backup there from Fuego. So they should hold on to at least one elimination. That will be our first elimination for the day. And Bope, all right, starting off on a nice little bit of a foot here.
Yeah, but not only, as you mentioned before, are they sitting right next to each other with regards to placement, right? But points they've got, they tied, sitting on 11 apiece. So, you know, whatever they can find could definitely benefit them quite a bit. But it does seem like Bope are going to be looking to get themselves maybe a little bit more adequately positioned as they are heading over to Trip to bring in that extra bit of reinforcement. And Trip needs it, right? That health bar not looking too great, but they're hanging on by a slither here.
I mean, does Trip really need it? They kind of just dropped 2 players from Level X Esports. Ultron is down to a sliver of HP. It is all of a sudden down to only 1 member here from Level X Esports. They thought they had the upper hand, but no, sirree. It was Trip with such a clutch play. I mean, the rest of the team was still rotating on in, and then he just decided to take down 2, even I think got potentially the 3rd, but either way, Bope Esports, congratulations. First 4 points of the day, first 4 eliminations, and that will at the very least ensure that they are no longer tied to Level X.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to bode really, really well for them. Already now putting them on 15 points. But where are they going to look to push this one towards? I mean, 15 points puts them kind of on par with the Golden Boys and the XO Zone. But that also closes the gap because, as we know, right, 8th place is only on 19. So 4 more points needed for Bope to jump all the way from that 14th place start up into 8th place, right? So, yeah, the potential is there. But now it's going to come down to how the teams are going to be looking to rotate on through. Of course, we can see the Golden Boys, or Golden Eagles, whichever one you want to call them. Right, they are going to be positioned down onto that southern edge, close to the lovely Western Bridge. But then the Panthers, and of course the players then from Excuse, right, they'll have to try and make their way up there. So, You know, that could be a very interesting position coming through there from the side of Golden.
We do see Golden Eagles rather currently in the vehicles rotating on around. There's going to be the opportunity now for the Panthers to make that rotation. We'll see if they're able to do so unscathed. Thankfully, because of that immediate movement, they chose almost the absolute perfect timing. Golden Eagles not in a position to camp out that bridge. So if you want to talk about that gamble rotation, it worked out perfectly for them by the looks of things. And now the question is, of course, for Mazexis and Excuse. Mazexis, if they're going to be heading towards the eastern side, we know Bope just off of the back of that wonderful engagement, they're still hanging around on the edge of the farm. So they could potentially find Mazexis, pick up a few more points. And now the Panthers on the other side of the western bridge, are they setting up a bridge cap?
Could be. Could potentially be. It definitely does seem to be that way. But of course now, speaking about, you know, those strategic delayed rotations, we can see the clips by Chick that we just had on the edge up in towards Rozak. Also plays here from Manic. Also now looking to make a bit of a play, but they're rotating in alongside Team Aces. So there could be a nice bit of drive-by action coming through here as we see Manic now looking to try and secure a bit of an angle here. They are sitting with 8 points on that leaderboard, 7 of which came through from placement. They only were able to find 1 elimination in yesterday's 3 matches, but could this change up now? It was close. Oh,
It was a wheel. That was literally a potential. The soft ops nearly just got a nice shave for free. Didn't have to go to the barber. The wheel was about to do all of it, but they will hold on to their life for the time being, and they will be awarded a lovely eliminations, adding at least 1 point to the tally. Our 5th elimination so far for the day. But Aces, I mean, for them losing out on a player, now finding Manic as well. They would have loved to continue that with the full team. We'll see what else they can do, though. Still a few more teams having to make those rotations in.
Yeah, and I mean, this is quite an interesting position, especially now for the old gangsters, right? Coming into today in 2nd position, 39 points up. I mean, they could definitely look to leverage the angle they've got onto Team Aces there. But will they be able to lock in those plays, though? Because the zone allows them now to continue to stay in the vicinity here, not really kind of forcing their hand in any which direction. This actually allows them to just strengthen their angle up on towards this church, but it's going to be Team Aces now rushing full up towards them.
Oh, I love this. They got that initial knock, looking for a little bit of information, not committing to that just yet, rather running that 2-2 split. 2 members in the vehicles, 2 members on foot, trying to get some information, just checking things out, you know, seeing if this is actually a worthwhile push. If it's not, it's fine. They have the vehicles, they can disengage, they can back on off. They still have 4 of their members, you know, up and at 'em. I was incorrect earlier. It was Manic rather that lost that player, but for Aces right now, just to be able to get some information to take a disengagement further into the zone, that's all they really need to do for now. I mean, we've still got 19 teams. So if you think they were looking for eliminations, don't worry. There's still many opportunities that they can take.
Oh yes, there are quite a few opportunities that lie in wait. But it doesn't seem like Team Aces want to be their next victims. They're just going to be hanging off, just keeping themselves just on that very edge of the reach of the old gangsters. But this could open up a beautiful opportunity now for Team Aces to maybe find that extra bit of an approach here. But they have to be quick about it, because we can see it is going to be the players here from GR Esports also now on the approach, and this could definitely throw quite a few spanners in the works.
I did like that in the meanwhile, while we were taking a look at this, we did see the Panthers finding the Golden Eagles. There was a little bit of contention. Golden Eagles so far have been getting a hit by hit. You can see in the feed as well, Mitsuki going down, waiting for those confirmations. The Panthers already have 2. Will they find the rest? GR going to be finding Aces. Just getting a bit of a wake-up call here. Ooh, bit of a drive-by as well, but this is going to be a tough opportunity for them to try and confirm this out, because if they do go in for that investment, they just expose themselves, DK.
Yeah, not only that, right? Meter Shot is also behind them. You can see them up on the minimap. So that is going to add that extra bit of pressure to this whole area, right? The whole situation up in Headshot Hills. But let's see who's going to be the team to walk away in a more favorable position here. Knowing the fact that Manic is also starting to move themselves even closer. Nuclear Power also moving in. And it's not all too often that we see Headshot Hills actually being smacked up center zone.
Look, this is going to be providing such a good opportunity now for these teams. I mean, in terms of the ridgelines that they have to work with, it is a very careful game. They have to be so incredibly meticulous with how they take those rotations, how they take those peaks. As you said, as soon as, for example, Team Aces might take a peek out, they have at least 3 teams already that have a line of sight onto their positions. So interesting opportunities, but of course we still have a few more teams to try and join the frame. As Zex is making their rotation on in, just if you want to keep track of them. They've made it past the Eastern Bridge. They're going to be heading into farm soon, so they should be able to get themselves in zone right alongside Excuse, and those will be two of our last teams really to join this chaos in the zone.
Yep, then we've got all 19 teams locked and loaded and ready to ensue with the carnage. But speaking about that, it's going to be the Extreme Slayers now pushed up on Potato Hill, keeping a very close ear open, right? As we can see the players there from Pope also now finding their own approach, looking to get themselves established closer to center. But the Panthers now going to be looking to clear up at least on the southern edge. They've got the angle right into the zone itself. And this is where things are going to get pretty hairy, right? Because if we look at the players going through there from the old gangsters, they're definitely going to be looking to defend their position.
Absolutely. They've been doing so well with a massive finish we saw yesterday on Murma, I believe it was. Now, this is an opportunity for them to take it further, close that gap between themselves and Dope Esports. In the meanwhile, Dope, they've picked up 1 elimination there from the Golden Eagles, so this has to be the opportunity. We can see the rotation coming on in. Softops finding that angle beautiful. It puts the Panthers down to only 1. And with that 1, now having to make the decision to, well, escape, leave your teammates. There is no longer an opportunity for recovery.
Yeah, Nate now trying to play the best hand they can at this point, but it's going to be a pretty tough one. We have Dope perched up on the roofs. We've got Excuse off in the distance, so there's not a lot of options really for Nate to play at here. But I'm curious to see what the Drago is going to be doing here, trying to get themselves into some kind of a lineup. Oh, but Zuko is slowly going to be bleeding out as the old gangsters now look to just fortify and strengthen their hold that they have onto the edge. But still, that zone also now getting ready for a bit of a shift. You can see blue zone about to close all the way up. Where will it take them? And it moves up north, and this is a complete turnaround, right? This now actually moves up quite favorably for the Friend Killers and the Care Bears.
Hey, it's good to finally have a little bit of an opportunity. I also love that we have those bridges still in play. It's going to provide a lot of chaos now for teams trying to make that rotation on in. Zuka did fall down, is going to get immediately buggied out of the lobby, unfortunately. But this does mean that we are moving on with the story for old gangsters. 3 eliminations in their pockets, and now, as we mentioned at the teams, they have to make a dash, they have to make a swim, they have to make a drive across the bridge, but they need to get themselves situated earlier rather than later.
Yeah, that is going to be of the utmost importance. But again, talking about setup, right? Look at what we've got here for GR Esports, right? They've got this little bit of a position up in towards Ruins. I mean, it could be a pretty interesting play for them, but looking at what we've got come through then from MP somewhat, yeah, that could be that extra bit of leverage, and that is exactly what happens. Oh, the hits connecting through. Vortex down for the count. But a quick retaliation now onto the side there somewhat. Where's it going to go, though? We see Zane, Ferrari, and Cheesecute also now moving through. But the angles are working out in favor of the side of GR Esports.
I love it. Let's bring in that little bit of action. Let's bring in that aggression. GR Esports, I mean, we said it. They are the gatekeepers currently for 8th place, but they're not going to be sitting and going to be complacent with 8th place. No, let's move up those rankings. Let's get a little bit of extra ka-ching in the pockets. We want to really be treated, and right now MPX Samot, it doesn't look like they have much of an option. They are just taking hit after hit, just soaking up all of that damage before the third parties come on in.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a difficult position to play in. I mean, there's so much hard cover around, but you got to be so careful about those angles because you might be hiding away from one team only to open yourself up to even more angles from the surrounding teams. And this is not Cheesecute, so low on that health bar, but meet the shot, being absolutely relentless, not going to be backing off just yet. Now it is going to be Zane trying to make a little bit of an improvement with regards to positioning. Yep, just scooting in back behind the hardcover, but the old gangsters already moved into position, and this could actually now allow them to leverage that in favor of these of the eliminations.
Ooh, let's come on in. Let's bring in some chaos. MPX the mod. Can they turn this around? That nade is going to be sent on out. Will it make the connection? Not quite, but now it is a double turnaround here from GR. And they've got the sandwich. They've got the complete turnaround, and surrounding MPX the mod will mean that we say goodbye to them for now. But of course, we're in ruins. We know there's a couple of teams in the vicinity, and old gangsters smell a little bit of blood.
Yep, and this is the opportunity, right? Because they are essentially the only team contesting GR for that position. So if the old gangsters decide to, they could definitely make quite a bit of an impact here on the longevity of GR Esports. But now it is going to be Meter Shot rotating out of that sunken city, also moving in from the eastern edge. Because see, Psycho already making that first connection, does find Wolf. But are they going to be able to find the rest of GR? And I mean, old gangsters, they just hanging back, just looking to see how this whole situation plays out.
Yeah, get some information, see what they can do with this, see how they can get themselves out of the situation. Well, I'm not too sure about this one. Here comes Psycho clearing up the angle. Will get caught out with the bait and switch. At least this crossfire from GR Esports is good. It surrounds them. It gives them an opportunity to find one, but will it make an opportunity to find the rest? Here it is. GR reduced to only one.
Wow, those hits. Oh, so
gangsters.
damaging. Yeah, they just reaching in, adding in their 2 cents. And that, of course, then means that, GR Esports, the numbers have dwindled quite a considerable chunk, right? But at least they've been able to pick up those 5 eliminations. As we look off in the distance, it is now the table starting to turn as Excuse comes in with quite a bit of a vengeance, looking to double down. But will this allow them to secure the squad wipe? Oh, nice rush coming through. As you can see, Rosh up in the building. There's soft top down just up ahead. Oh, only a few more left to go. It's going to be Katri. Oh, here we have it. The rush is on. Oh, beautiful strafing. Nice few trades, but Rush super low on that health bot does find a beautiful angle and does take down Arsh. And with that, the rest of the team does fall. That is the old gangsters sitting right back into that lobby.
Right off the cuff of that crazy damage and that crazy chaos there with GR Esports, we did see Dope Esports actually going down. That means pole position up for grabs, and the likes of old gangsters going out. That is first and second place for the taking, now open to the rest of the teams to make up those points. Extreme Slayers, I'm looking at you, sitting in third place. Bring in those points. Friend Killers finally keeping to their namesake. It looks like they've made a couple of friends because the eliminations are pouring in. And Bope Esports, well, they're not feeling too happy about it. Trip is going to need a bit of a headache tablet. Friend Killers holding off for the line, holding for anything. But it will be them to go out next.
Yeah, I mean, Friend Killers definitely being one of those teams in contention for ball position. But, this first match just proving to be quite a bit of a challenge. Now, Meter Shot just doing their thing. Also one of the teams, right? I mean, starting the day off in 5th place, 31 points. Only needing 14 points to catch up to pole position. And as you've already said, right? Dope and the old gangsters can send on their merry way. So the opportunity does present itself. But how will Meter Shot now utilize the available terrain? Meanwhile, it's going to be Nucleotide Vendetta suffering several casualties.
Loving this. The action is just imploding right now. Panthers holding on with one in the meantime under a bridge. But Nucleotide Vendetta, they've been quiet. We've been waiting for a little bit more from them to bring in that fury that they did in the semi-finals, in the qualifiers. Waiting to see what they can turn around from this one. So many teams right up ahead of them. So many teams right behind them. Unfortunately, it's a 50-50 chance. Whichever way you swing, you may still be finding yourself in a third party.
Oh, let's see how this is going to go. Exozoro now looking to capitalize on the carnage. Is Top Boy going to be able to reach up with that nade? Oh, sending out quite a few. But instead, we do see the rush now coming through as well. It's going to be Pew and Mumbai now out in the wild, trying to run over wherever they can find. but they also still need to keep a very watchful eye on that zone positioning as well. Instead, we do have them now rushing up onto the extreme slayers already. That one knock, it is going to be Lala holding on for dear life, but will they be able to survive the onslaught as the shots now start raining in from the opposite end of the bridge?
Oh, we love it. These teams are so hyped and ready for the third parties. XO Zone holding the line. Oh, that was a disgusting but beautiful nade right in the direction of, I believe that might have been Meter Shot. I'm not too sure. It was the other team, but we'll wait for the HUD to let us know. XO Zone in the meanwhile, finding nuclear power, nuclear side on the meanwhile, closing that gap, looking for a little bit of distance. Smokes will be deployed. They're trying to get closer to the action here, DK.
Yeah. But did you see that Liangji has the AMR in hand? Right? I want to see a little bit of that that monster mode getting engaged with those one-hit taps coming through. But of course, then we have to quickly jump over into the sunken city. It is going to be Meter Shot now, trying to reach into the side of Bope here. But again, they do have such a favorable kind of setup. I mean, it is going to be quite a contested angle, kind of a contested entry point moving into the zone. But from what we've seen already come through from Psycho, oh, this could be some easy pickings.
As we switched into this, we saw Extreme Slayers going out. So that is our team in first, second, and third. Now completely out for the count. Meter Shot with an opportunity. I mean, just look at this. It is so scrumptious. Already finding one. Just looking for the rest of the squads. Looking for the rest of the players. Now being forced into a rotation. They have to go right into Psycho's crosses. Their time is numbered. At this point, it is looking like the only opportunity they have is to maybe just let it die out in the blue zone. You know, deny those points for Meter Shot, because I do not see a way that they get out of this safely. Maybe they can wait it out. Maybe they've got the meds to do so. But in the meanwhile, we have that zone shifting up to the northeast.
Yeah, I mean, that zone shift is absolutely nasty, nasty stuff. But now, Excuse trying to blaze their way on open. It is going to be Meter Shot up ahead. Oh, we see that connection come through. No, it overshoots, causes a little bit of damage.
Why?
But not the kind of damage that they wanted. Now, it is going to be allowing for Psycho to hop in that vehicle and maybe just script themselves back into that zone. Fortunately, we do see the players there from Nuclear Power holding on to a bit of a gatekeep angle there.
This feels like the Matrix. Both of these squads just keep avoiding the nades by the slick of a hair, by the skin of their teeth, whatever, you know, acronym or metaphor you want to use. I don't know how they're doing it. They are Neo in the Matrix. And here we've got the Care Bears from outside in the blue zone still reaching in. I mean, you're talking about that AMR. No opportunity for that right now. But Care Bears also not much of an opportunity to take us further.
Wow, I mean, this is absolutely brutal. Looking at Excuse, they are bringing in quite a bit of a fighting chance, sitting on 80 eliminations to their name, pushing in, and it's going to be James to get taken down. Now turning on to Kai, but Kai's got that slight angle, and off they go as Nate comes clawing their way on through, locking in that Elam for the Panthers. But now Jaden for the Care Bears with the S12 gate. Tappity, tap, tap. Rocking the table as they just jump on forward, now pushing the Care Bears up to 8 eliminations as well.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's beautiful. Oh, it's just so good. Jaden now needing to pop off that medkit will do so. That nade popping just at the last second means that Jaden will still be alive. Off of the back of a 1v3 clutch, the momentum must be raining high, but now they need to take a breath. They need to try and figure out how they move on from here. Let's get some nades, let's get some utilities. This is going to be tough. We've only got 3 teams left, and Care Bears, well, sorry, goodbye, as I wanted to talk about you. It is Nuclear Tide, it is Meter Shot, DK, as our last 2 teams of a wrangle.
Wow, what a turnaround it has been. I mean, absolutely insane running coming through here, especially looking at Nuclear Tide, right?
Ooh.
They started off with only 2 points to their name, sitting all the way in 20th position, but they've come back with an absolute vengeance, looking to grab onto a really amazing position. But will this be the nade to close it off? Wow, Tom just holding on to the very edge. I mean, Hardy also just positioned on the very verge. I mean, I'm curious to see which way this is going to go, because it can still swing in either direction.
Absolutely. One well-placed nade, one well-placed shot could be the end. We can see Tom now reduced down to only a sliver. That nade with the follow-up should be it. Yep, there it is. Nucleotide, they have the advantage. They have the upper hand. Can they close it out? Can they capitalize off of this 2v1 and make it a winner-winner chicken dinner?
Oh, the opportunity is definitely there. Now they just got to find the angles. It's going to be Hearty keeping a very watchful eye on Chills. As we can see, Chills moving through, but Marioso has not yet been spotted. Oh, up comes the full-on send. Come on, Chills tries to get it. Marioso finds the extra bit of pressure coming through on the side, and that is going to be enough for Nucleotide Vendetta to steal the winner-winner chicken dinner. Absolutely great performance coming through there. And of course, they finish off with 1,011 damage to their name.
It's lovely. It is so lovely to start off a wrangle. And the fact is, like we said, we had our first, second, and third place team bowing out relatively early on. They did pick up a couple of points. We saw old gangsters. They were doing some ridiculous stuff. We saw Extreme Slayers trying to do something as well. But, I mean, Dope Esports at least, I think, got 1 or 2 eliminations. But I don't think that's enough to keep hold of their position.
Yeah, we don't know. And that's what makes it so exciting, right? It is absolutely fantacular. But yeah, I mean, the pressure is on. The team's really stepping up, looking to change up the approach, comes through for today's matches. So curious to see how that is going to result in as we jump into our next match a little bit later on, right? Moving from Erangel over to Murmur. Vast bit of a change up, right, with the different play styles. But I want to see that AMR action come through if someone's able to find it in one of the loot crates.
And keep it.
Yes. Keep it, use it, show us what you can do with it. But I gotta say, Erangel off to a really, really good start, and it makes me excited for what we'll have, you know, for the remainder of the day's games.
Look, if this is the way that a wrangle is going to be starting off, you can bet your socks that the next couple of matches are going to be ridiculous. We can see Marioso picking up that player of the match with those 5 eliminations. Not a lot of damage really to showcase in terms of that crazy final zone, but it's because they were clean cut and they executed every single elimination that they started. So it's a good start here. Can they take it further? Can they pick up a few more coming back onto Miramar? Because then, again, we might be seeing a whole completely different top 3.
Oh yes, indeed. We could potentially see an entirely different setup coming through here. I'm curious to see how those points come through that Nucleotide Vendetta picked up in this match. How much of an impact that is going to make on those overall standings, right? Because, I mean, they stepped it up. Look at this, Marioso though with 5 elims. I mean, that's a phenomenal performance, and that only adds to the amazing performance that we saw come through from the entire team here.
Hey, let's take a look at those top 4 teams from that previous wrangle. Our winner chicken dinner winners, Nucleotide Vendetta, total of 8 eliminations, and that is shared amongst 2 other teams, Carebears and Excuse. I mean, Carebears, we know why they got 8 eliminations. It was off of the back of a 1v3 clutch. So it's expected. It's okay. We understand. But Excuse also just happy to see that they were constantly in those engagements, picking up those eliminations. Happy to see them staying active. And Meter Shot, just 2 measly little eliminations, and then we could have had 8 across the board. But it is looking so good, just in terms of the spread from damage to eliminations and the elimination, just overall dispersal between all of these teams.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be super close between Meter Shot and Excuse, at least on with regards to the standings. Looking at where they started off the day. Also, if you add in the Care Bears, right? But if we look at our eliminations and damage graph, I mean, look at that though. It's not often that we see the damage bars rise as they've done. Such a consistent amount of carnage coming through. I mean, 3 teams with 8, 3 teams with 6, 2 on 5. And then, of course, we've got 4 teams with 3 elims each.
Again, this does mean, though, when your teams at the top are just performing like it's nobody's business, there are going to be those teams taking home those donuts and adding pretty much nothing to their overall tally, unfortunately. Dope Esports, just to remind you, one of the last teams to get eliminations, and that was only 1. So let's take a look at that overall ranking. Ooh. And already we have been treated, DK.
Yes, sir. What a treat indeed it's going to be. Meter Shot jumping from 5th place up into 1st. Dope, rather, getting moved down into that 2nd position. We can see the players there from Excuse now just scooting up from 4th into 3rd. The old gangsters also now getting moved down into 4th position. Extreme Slayers, not too much of a movement, going from 3rd down to 5th place. But the Care Bears now also strengthening themselves up. They started in 9th, now sitting up into 6th place. Some loving what's happening here, but Nucleotide, right, all the way from 20th to 10th place. So 10 slot jump in just one game.
Listen, I do love the fact that we are talking about these teams immediately setting the stage and saying, you know what, it wasn't good enough. You know, we're just gonna take the pole position. Thanks so much for staying. Maybe come back again later. It's okay. We've got this. But I am so far very impressed with our teams. I don't know what maybe they had a bit of an energy drink. Maybe they tuned into some PMGC. You know, they checked out your watch party. They got some tips, and now they're bringing in those tips right into this performance today.
Who knows, right? Or maybe they just got a few treats along the way that, you know, was those treats that they needed to bring in the monstrous performance that we are seeing in that very first game. But of course, that also then means that we are going to be moving into our 2nd match of the day very, very soon. So we are going to be hopping into a very quick break. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll see you right back afterwards.
We do this every time.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. So we just having a bit of fun here with our lovely skins.
Doesn't happen often.
This is us in our natural habitat,
State.
right? Yeah, let's call it that, right? Our natural state,
Our
what it's
final
supposed
form.
to be. Yes. It is absolutely glorious. And speaking about glorious, of course, we are going to be hopping into a little bit of that desert action, right? As you can see, we've already made our way to the desert. We've been there the whole time. So now we're just going to be waiting to see where the teams are going to be looking to move towards, who's going to be getting those extra bit of a jump in. Yeah, expecting a little bit of carnage to come through based on what we already saw in our very first Erangel. So hoping Miramar, they're going to double down on those efforts.
I hope so. I would hope so that they're going to bring in some of that hot drop action. Keep us entertained, right? Keep us going. We've only got 2 more maps. I mean, if they're going to pull out all the stops, it has to be now.
Yes. Pull out all the stops, pull out everything that you've got, bring it all out onto that battlefield and just blow us all away with an absolutely amazing performance, of course. As you said, and rightly so, 2 more maps to go. It's going to be Miramar, and then we're going to close it up with a little bit of that jungle action. But first, we need to stop over in the desert to see what's cooking, what the teams are going to be doing, but more importantly, where that first initial flight path, well, the only flight path on Miramar, rather, is going to be going.
Yes. Look, so over towards Erangel, we had a little bit of a crazy finish when it really went over to those rivers. It had a little bit of a northern shift in the end, but ultimately, first flight path, first zone, it was nice. Honestly, that's the best way that I can describe it. It was very, very, very neutral for some of these teams. So now, we're going to have to ask the question, is Miramar going to play game or is it going to play ball? El Pozo, all the way down to the southern position. Ooh.
Yeah, nice change, because yesterday we had that very centralized flight path come through, and this time it is a slight bit of a shift over towards the western edge, so it is going to be limiting somewhat with regards to the available drop locations for our teams here. But yeah, also waiting to see if we're going to have that eastern zone come through again, right? Maybe we want a bit of an upset. I mean, I'm not going to say no to a nice northeastern zone.
That would be, yes, that would be a little bit of fun actions, because then all of a sudden, you know, the teams are going to have to do some hot drops. They're going to have to make some early rotations, especially if they want to get themselves a good position into that next zone. So we might be then seeing some of those split rotation engagement, which so far have been very fun to watch. I think that's been the best part of this community tournament, is we keep seeing all of these early engagements. It is just fight from beginning right until the end.
Yeah, and that's what we love, right? I mean, we want to see carnage. Ooh,
Yes.
not to be funny, but this looks very, very similar to what we had just yesterday. In fact, it is almost, right?
Oh.
It's like, I don't know, like 800 meters further south than what we had yesterday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. This is a little bit of deja vu. The only difference this time around is, of course, where the flight path was, right? We can still see it being shown right there. So now, the teams already situated well within that zone have a great opportunity, because they can get themselves established. They can get themselves set up. But it's also going to allow for a little bit of that craziness to come into a position like Monte Nuevo, for instance.
Oh yeah, Monte Nuevo is going to be pretty stacked. We're going to really see 3 teams making a drop into that location. A little bit of an earlier drop before they take their rotation into the zone, which I don't mind. We're already seeing a few of those eliminations. We haven't seen the team wipe just yet. I believe that was MPX and Mod taking some hits in from Aces, obviously happening there towards Monte Nuevo. We can see Dope actually with a knock as well. So again, for Dope, I mean, they have dropped down to 2nd place. They are only... you know, a few points away from getting their pole position back. So they need to have Miramar start off on a good footing.
Yeah, only 3-point difference. So there is a great opportunity
Easy.
for Dope to go ham and pick up, you know, that pole position once again. But they're really going to have to work for it, as we can see Fishy now getting picked up and traded in the background. And that is not the kind of start that you want. And Drago is also down. So it now is solely relying on Jianxi and Casper to make the magic happen.
I hope that is a reference to Casper the Friendly Ghost, because it would be very fitting for this event. But hey, we'll take a look at it. And I mean, in terms of that zone, if it just continues towards that eastern side, there's a lot of terrain that starts to get real rough. That starts to really, throw into those 50-50 opportunities. Line of sights get cut on off because of the ridge lines. So could be pretty fun. We might even see a few teams actually making earlier rotations into that area just so that they can give themselves a better shot later on, should it actually happen. But for now, it is a gamble. I mean, wherever you want to set up, it's not necessarily going to be heading into your direction, but it might just give you that opportunity. So it might just be worth it for teams.
Yeah, I definitely think like a position along the likes of La Bendita, Minas Generales,
Yes.
maybe Junkyard, Graveyard, or Impala. Those could be some very viable options to try and move towards. Because, well, those spots are pretty vacant at this point in time, right? We do see the teams converging up onto the side of the map, right? Still holding on to the action on the edge here of Monte Nuevo. But dope. Janchi now in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, not quite sure how they're going to be able to get themselves out of this potential 2v1.
Run.
But it's worth the dash. Oh, no, it's not. Down they go.
Hey.
Oof.
What we do like is that we are seeing MPX, they're stepping on up, they're picking up those eliminations, and for them, we saw a little bit of that action over towards the Wrangle. Now they're following up on that, and I mean, they are in 16th with ironically 16 points. So if they can just pick up a few more, if they can pick themselves up, they could close that gap. But they're still very close and contentious. So every single elimination is going to count. But for Dope, yeah, look, if they wanted Miramar to be the map where they can close that gap, I want to see what they then can do as a duo.
Yeah. Well, the duo can duo a lot. Yeah, that was lame. Either which way. We can see the Care Bears actually deciding to rotate all the way up in towards Impala itself, right? So I think that's going to be a really good setup for them. But the Friend Killers also holding on to, a nice little bit of a real estate there. I mean, also not too heavily contested. But still waiting to see what this Western Edge will hold. I mean, yes, we do have Picardo right here with the Clips Before Chicks team. And the nearest contenders seem to be Bope, who we can see on that southern edge of the minimap.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. A few rotations that need to still be made. I'm not sure if these teams will be finding each other, however, but we'll wait and see, because again, we know there's quite a few teams moving on in from that northwestern side of the zone, the El Pozos, etc., just because we had that zone moving in a similar direction. So Monte Nuevo, there's a few teams moving in from there. We've even got Manic moving in from Val del Mar. So West will be very, very busy.
Oh, yes. I mean, the West could be the best for the action, right? As the teams have a bit of work to do. Aces or Team Aces, yeah, they're going to be holding on. We do see then the players there from the Golden Eagles or the Golden Boys making that push. Extreme Slayers also now continuing on with their rotation. So that could actually mean Dope could find themselves in a little bit of a hot seat, depending on how they look to play out their position here. But yeah, I don't know how it's actually going to go for them.
Nuclear Power actually heading on in for that northern side, so they have a very good opportunity to pick up some great spacing. Extreme Slayers now pulling up on the duo of Dope Esports, who have been holding on by a thread, and now it doesn't look like there's a lot of thread to hold on to. Casper will be the first one to be pushed on in. They're good for one, but there's no opportunity for trade. Looking at the rest of Dope, that member on the other side of the road, they were trying to hold a compound each. They have a lot of bullets, though, DK. So if Extreme Slayers, they make this direct dash, they might be in for a surprise they were not looking for.
Yeah, and definitely the blue zone is also contributing to that extra damage. But let's see whether or not Drago is going to jump at the opportunity. Could find a nice bit of a spray. Oh, the further they get away, the more challenging it becomes. Nope. No, it's not on the cards just yet. They are going to let that one slide, at least for the time being. But that does put Dope in quite a bit of a pressure play here. Now, if we look over onto the Clips Before Chicks team, they're now also making a little bit of an ascent that hillside, trying to get themselves situated, but they're pulling in right alongside the place here from Bope in the zone. just moving ever so slightly towards that eastern side, but still remaining very centralized.
Yeah, we might even be moving a little bit more north in terms of just cutting out all of that water position. And we are cutting out a lot of that treacherous terrain towards the coastal line. So in terms of those ridge lines I was talking about, you know, where your line of vision completely gets cut, even though you might be right alongside another team. Not too bad, but there is still a lot of pockets that are going to provide opportunities for teams just to bunker on down, to get in a few, you know, a couple of shots, maybe pick up a few extra eliminations. And there's still plenty space to now be taken on up. GR finding an excuse, however. It looks like that might have been an instant knock and an instant confirm. So they can take this a little bit further. They can pick up some good points here, DK. They can close that gap between themselves and 8th position.
They definitely could do that, but if we look on to what we have happening here with the level X, they have who's that? That's the clips before Chicks, just north of them. As we can see, Piers now just looking all over the place. We got the rope right there alongside them. But as we move just across that zone barrier, we do find the players there from XO zone also holding on. So it's still quite a contentious play coming through on the western side, but I'm loving how the eastern edge is starting to develop, right? We are seeing the Panthers holding on to a very formidable position up in towards Los Leones, right? Those hillsides, I mean, that is kind of the prime position, especially looking at this position of the zone itself.
Ooh, I think in the meantime, we saw clips by Chicks actually taking out Bope Esports. I don't know if it was complete confirmation on Bope. No, it's not. We still have 20 teams. So Bope will be reduced down to a few members, and clips by Chicks have picked up some, I think that was 2 eliminations actually. So that will be very good for them. Again, just these small little engagements that are starting to break on out as the teams are making in those rotations is what we expected, because teams took a lot of split drops, teams took a lot of off-the-cuff rotations, and now they're getting a couple surprises, like Team Aces, who are suddenly getting rushed.
Yeah, but surprisingly, we are having a few blue zone battles, right? Which is something we don't have happening on Miramar all too often. But now Team Aces, going to be rushing on forward. That is a beautiful hit coming in, as MP Somot are now reduced down to 2. It is down to Zane and Cute Cheese, or Cheese Cute. There we go. Cute Cheese. Sure.
Cheese. So
trying to move in. Oh, this is a sneaky approach. This is such a sneaky play. But is it going to be cheesy enough for Cheese Cute to pull off that nade? Of course, now being cooked up. Zane moving in from the opposite end. A full-on set. There we go. Yusuf. Now the final contender left here for Team Aces. Also going for that nade, but gets spotted out in the window. The shots come through. The damage is dealt. And MP Somot land themselves a beautiful finish. Now sitting on 6 eliminations.
That was such good synergy coming through from MPX Somot. The bait and switch, Cheese Cute just holding the attention of the team. The nades getting punted on in, but Zane just so quick on their feet, closing that gap, and then just fighting as a duo right off of each other. Peak, then hit, peak, then hit. It was so good from them. So as a duo, I have a lot of faith. I have seen a lot of good plays. Maybe they can take it further. But again, we know Dope, they've been reduced to Drago, very close to Montenuevo as a similar rotation to MPX and Mott. The Panthers, so close to center zone. And they are greeted with plenty of opportunities. And we see so many teams in the vicinity just around them.
Oh, yes. I mean, the Panthers, they can go farming now, right? Looking at Nate. Oh, that GAR 98 holding on to a good position here. GR Esports could line it up for them. Oh, Vortex. Big boop. Oh, almost getting it. Come on. Oh. Nate just unfortunately not hitting that headshot. I mean, that would be such a beautiful hit if it was to connect up there with Vortex. Instead, Vortex does seem to have run out of ammunition, having a quick little bit of a reload. But again, the Panthers just capitalizing on the elevation and that reach they have on the surrounding area.
The Panthers, I mean, this is an interesting one for them. They've got that high ground, they've got that line of sight, they have some good opportunities. They know what GR Esports are, but in the meantime, we did actually have GR Esports recover, reset themselves. They have a good opportunity towards Friend Killers. End has been spotted out quite well in the open here, so We'll see what GR will be able to do. Maybe they might find that connection with the Mini 14. That zone is going to be closing up shortly. And then this could cause a lot of havoc. This could cause a complete nail in the coffin for all of the teams and their current plans, especially if it moves towards that north. But no, it centers to Los Leones. This provides an opportunity for potentially an urban finish if we continue to that south.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, but this is still a position for the Panthers now to just capitalize on. I mean, they still have such a favorable setup coming through here. I mean, this is where they really need to take care of the position, right? Try to clean up all that extra bit of contention. But ideally, we want to see them move to the hill just a little bit south of where they currently are situated, because that is going to allow them some really good plays to make. You get the hill just over to the edge there. Come on, right over there. If they were able to move there, they'd have the setup they need to defend the entire area. But now, players here from Exo Zone, a little bit isolated in their whereabouts, not really having the cleanest line of sight on the surrounding teams. But that is going to be Meter Shot now looking for a bit of an opportunity, right? Trying to get themselves situated at least in or around Los Leones.
It would be so good if we get that zone moving on into south and we have this Los Leones finish. It will be chaotic. I mean, just all of the teams taking up positions in the compounds. Oh, I love it. I do love it. I mean, in terms of, the teams that we still have available, still quite a few of those top 3 placements in contention currently picking up those points. You've got Meter Shot now finding the Panthers. And the Panthers, they were holding up that high rise. All of a sudden, they're getting a little bit bullied. And that is to do with this high rise from the buildings, the opportunities that it is going to be allowing them. That can extend to quite a few more teams in the vicinity.
Yeah, it definitely could. But so that only means that the Panthers have to work really, really hard to defend that angle and to actually maintain it. But now Meter Shot, I mean, I like the point that they're on the edge of Los Leones, right? Not full sending it, committing to the city itself. And what this really allows them is to play a little bit more dynamically, right? They have the opportunity to duck in and out of the compounds as they choose, but still, should the zone decide to move elsewhere, they can actually have a pretty safe exit.
Mazexus taking some lovely hits, but not dealing out that damage as well. Unfortunately, there's not a trade for trade. We say goodbye to Pubg Esports, as they do go down with at least 1 elimination, but that will be our second team to fall. Manic feeling some of the manic energy now here from Care Bears. They are off the bat of a crazy Wrangle game, so they're not one of the teams I would be wanting to take up right now. But Exo Zone, one of the teams that have made that early dash into Los Leones, they are waiting for the chaos to ensue.
Yeah, let's see where the Manic team is going to look to go. Care Bears was right there alongside them. A little bit of a risky rotation. I mean, slightly exposed, right? But we can see at least the Care Bears are focusing right over on towards Onion. So that does allow for number 1 here to pull up into a little bit of safety. Level X also just a little bit further towards that northern edge. But I'm liking what the Care Bears are doing here, right? Not overly committing to the engagement, just trying to kind of remind the Manic team that, be careful how you choose to rotate, because we could actually still lay quite a bit of damage into you.
Absolutely. I would go as far as saying that for pretty much any one of these teams. They have been so surprising. They have been so constantly dynamic that you really can't, bet your chips in. You can't place all your bets on any of these teams just yet, because the constant change that they are bringing in is emphatic. It is also going to be leaving us guessing right until the end who's going to be taking the first place finish. But Manic, maybe they will be looking to start us off with it. I'm going to be spotting out the Care Bears. Care Bears making that rotation on in because they know that zone has shifted up to the north. So no urban finish for us, but it does mean that the teams suddenly have to make a drastic decision as to which sort of a pocket, some sort of terrain they can actually find to hold themselves. So I'm expecting, DK, the chaos to start now. The teams, they are going to have to fight for an opportunity at cover.
Yeah, but what I like about the shift for the Panthers is they have that opportunity to defend the western side, right? They still have that elevation, and still they can leverage that, right? They are not overly contested. We do see the raise here from GR Esports also now just trying to move a little bit closer, get themselves situated. Nuclear Power could have a bit of an opportunity here. Let's see if they're going to be able to find that, though. Oh, Care Bears running into a few problems. Level X locking the edge of zone down. And I gotta love that play coming through from Level X.
Absolutely. Let's just pick up a few extra eliminations. Let's move it on in. MPX Amot finding Mazexis as well. As we see hit after hit moving on in, but it's not going to be done just yet. They are reduced down to 2, so that disengagement is going to come on through. Dreams already just navigating this terrain, trying to put as much space in between themselves and MPX Amot. Actually, for the turnaround on the high ground, maybe looking to fight them out, because now they have the zone to their backs. They can keep MPX Amot out of this before at least Kebes comes in with a third party.
Yeah, I don't know if the Kebes are going to be able to come in on this exact position. I mean, yes, they are down south. The opportunity definitely is there, but I don't know how probable that a play will be. Instead, well,
yeah,
Jaden makes me swallow all my words in one gulp as they come in with a beautiful spray. Yeah. Now, Shadow GT keeping a very wary eye here. See Jaden rotating up in the distance, but fortunately for the Kebes, they're on the opposite end of that ridge, so that will allow for that continuation on the rotation itself. But now, look at this though. It's going to be the Golden Eagles going toe-to-toe with the Extreme Slayers, defending their position here. Mitsuki, not quite sure what happened with that nade, but that's not how you want to do it.
It was a panic nade, man. You saw Robert take a nade to the face. He didn't even flinch. He didn't even worry about it. That would be fearful. That would put a little bit of a shake in my boots. Now we've got clips by Chicks moving on in, crashing quite literally into Extreme Slayers. I think they will be reduced down to 1, maybe 1 HP, as Fierce is trying to get that medkit popped on off, because they are the last legs quite literally here for the team. Golden Eagles not feeling too great as well. Mitsuki once again popping off a medkit, trying to stay alive. And Old Gangsters, they come in for technically the 4th party to get these eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely looking to cause quite a bit of a disruption here, but I love this play for the Old Gangsters. I mean, they are still looking to defend that position, only 6 points away from catching up to pole position. But where will they end? The Panthers now, getting absolutely decimated. Down to Kwan they go. But will the Panthers be able to hold on? Meter shot. They've got their eyes on the prize. Right, and it's only Kwan standing between them and the security over on the western edge. Panthers.
We talked about it. They have an opportunity to defend themselves from the west, but look at how many teams are right up ahead of them. The Friend Killers, they found 2 friends, and well, now they're back at the lobby, just joining those friends. Meter shot, moving on in from the west, trying to apply that pressure to the Panthers, trying to apply that pressure to any and every team. Air Bears, though, moving in. Look at the recovery that they managed to get. They are up to 3, holding in with some great eliminations. And now they are moving even further. They've got Meter Shot up ahead of them. An opportunity if that nade makes a connection.
Oh, up it goes. Oh, so close. Jaden not going to stop there just yet. Sends up another one. Is it going to find it? No, it overshoots. Oh, the difficulty of these uphill nade throws. But let's see. Meter Shot. Chachu could still find a little bit of a hit here. Hearty now just trying to patch themselves back up again. But look at that. GR Esports also just hanging on to that very edge there. I mean, I like the spread going through there for GR, but now Frost for the Gebbers trying to bait out the remaining players here from Meter Shot. But is that going to suffice, though? The fight's also then continuing up north because the Nuclear Power trying to just get this way and that, just trying to stay ahead of the sprays. Level X coming up right behind them. It is going to be Lazy now, the final contender left for the side there of Level X.
Hello, Nucleotide Vendetta bowing out quite early on. Look at this zone. So little space. We still got 10 teams to get through. Let's hit these off. There we go. The 9th will be joining us. Esports, goodbye. Thank you. Come again onto Sandhawk. But they did pick up at least a little bit of action over towards Old Gangsters. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get that confirmation, as we see Katri now going with that res. K-Bears saying goodbye. Down to 8. We still have a few more to go. Not a lot of space in the zone. Nuclear Power with a very good position coming from that eastern side. And on the west, the west is looking pretty bare. We need a few teams to make that rotation there.
Well, I mean, GR, they could potentially try and pull off that rotation, right? They do have access to the southern edge, if you can see. But how will they play this one out? Oh, up comes the hit. It is going to be Ultron to fall alongside Lazy, and that is the end of the road for Level X. Down to the final 7 teams we go. The old gangsters looking like quite a formidable force here. So having all their players up, they've got control and possession of the northern edge. But now, it is going to be the players there from GR, right? Sitting on 8 eliminations already and still rocking a full squad. So it could still swing either which way.
Oh, let's take a look at this. GR reigning supreme currently with 9 eliminations and all 4 members of their squad. The only team to potentially match them is the old gangsters with the 5, but then it is stragglers. It is only stragglers that can try and put up some sort of an engagement. And right now, clips by Chicks, I think they're going to make this dash. Old gangsters seem to be ready for it. They might hit a couple of shots on in and find that confirmation. If not, it will be GR Esports to find that elimination. Points are going to be crucial here.
Yeah, it is going to be of utmost importance. But we still have meter shots in play. Hearty holding on to that southern edge. Now, GR looking to just bulldoze their way into some more points. As you can see, Game a goal getting taken on down, and that is clips by Chicks sent on their merry way. Walking away with 7 elims, though. But here we have it. GR sitting on those double digits. This is the kind of performance you want to have. The old gangsters having their numbers start to get, starting to dwindle down ever so slightly. Hardy still keeping it nice and quiet. 25 seconds or so remaining on the clock, but up comes GR, and that is the end. 3 teams now remain. It is going to be a 4v1v3 to fight it out for that winner chicken dinner. In fact, actually, it is going to be a pretty high stakes play between the old gangsters and the Panthers.
The Panthers only reduced down to 1. Right behind GR Esports, a little bit of information they can work with. Maybe they can hide out. Maybe they can find that opportunity, that nade going to be sent on through to old gangsters. GR going up for the push. The Panthers, they just need to pick their opportunity wisely, and then we could be looking still at a 2nd place finish. Oh,
yeah, we could definitely see that happen. But now Doc, sends it up to Sure. Just slowly tapping away at that health bar. It's going to be Gutsy getting taken down next, and now all the pressure turns to Sure. Oh, but it's going to happen. No, instead it is going to be the players from GR Esports stepping up and locking in that winner chicken dinner. 11 eliminations to their name. An absolutely phenomenal finish coming in here for GR Esports. Well, 14 actually. Wow, my math failed me horribly.
That's why we don't do the tallying up. That's why we don't do the quick math on the overall leaderboard. So, the way I say it, it's not our job. We speak nice words sometimes. That's it. GR Esports, congratulations for picking up such a gorgeous game. I mean, 14 eliminations just on their own. Before we even talk about any of the placements, right? That puts them in contention for 4th to 5th. Then you're going to put those placements right on top. Again, I'm not doing the math of the other teams, but maybe, just maybe, they might have gotten themselves into the top 3.
Yeah, they might have, right? It's there. The opportunity, the possibility is there. But then you also got to look at the performance that we had come through from the old gangsters. I mean, they secured 7 eliminations in that 2nd place. And that could potentially also then be enough for them to get, scooted up into pole position. So the pressure is definitely alive, but I'm loving the action the teams are bringing through, and also loving the slightly crazy shifts that we have with these zones.
It's been lovely to see these teams. Unfortunately, they've had to duke it out, in all honesty. These rotations have been very, very harsh in terms of the decisions that the teams have to make. The sudden hunt for space, the sudden hunt for cover that they need to just make off of the cuff. So it's going to be tough, but this is now when we get to that interesting point. They have 1 map left to suddenly get as many points as they possibly can to get themselves into the top 8, and it's going to be Sandhawk.
Oh yes, it is going to be Sandhawk indeed. But before we get anywhere remotely close to that, of course, we need to take a look and see who our MVPs are. And I think it's going to go... Yep.
Hello.
It is going to be Zane to take that honor there. Absolutely glorious performance going through, of course. MP Somod, I mean, they were trying, right? They were really giving such a tough play here, trying to secure themselves at least some kind of a finish. But I mean, 6 eliminations, and they went out in 15th place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just wow. Yeah, not the conversation that I thought we were going to be having, but here it is. Looking at the top 4 teams, GR, Old Gangsters, our first and second team now from that previous game. Just look at the disparity in terms of eliminations. MP Exomot, a team that came in 15th, has the second highest eliminations.
Yeah, that's what we love about these upsets, right? I mean, that is absolutely insane. But also take into consideration, there wasn't 16 teams in the lobby. We had 20 teams playing in the lobby. So, you know, this time around, not seeing such a crazy spread with damage across the board. Instead, we do see a slightly more, you know, top-heavy approach coming through with regards to the aggression.
Oh, just these eliminations. Yes, it's a little bit of a better spread because we've only got about 3 teams taking donuts in terms of eliminations alone over to their overall tally, but it's top heavy in the sense that we have 2 teams with double digits, and then it just goes down so drastically with, in terms of our top 5, having more than 5 eliminations. But here it is, the overall rankings. Someone did the math for us. It's meter shot to shoot up with 63 points and just 1 point away from them kicking Dope Esports out for the count. It will be Old Gangsters right behind them, GR Esports. When you want to talk about a clutch game, they just moved up from 9th all the way into top 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's a glorious play coming through there. So well played, though. Well done to GR Esports. I mean, that's the kind of upset that we want to have. But then also, speaking about upsets, right? Excuse, they've been moved from 3rd place all the way down into 5th. So, you know, it does sting a little bit because, excuse, they were doing such a phenomenal job just yesterday.
Yeah. Look, it's what happens when you've only got 6 maps to secure a grand final finish. It is going to get crazy, especially in a community event where we've got so many different styles, you've got so many different energies, so many different experience levels, that you're going to get a little bit of chaos. You're going to get a little bit of those hot drops. You're going to get a lot of, you know, just in terms of engagements, in terms of teams actually taking on one another because they're done. They said, no, listen, this is our spot. This is our rotation. You can't have it.
Yeah, indeed. But, you know, another beautiful thing that we also saw was the Panthers also taking quite a bit of jump, right? They went 15th place before we jumped into this match. So, you know, what a leap that is. And, yeah, I mean, what a glorious performance nonetheless. So that already means we are that much closer to jumping into our final match right here in the lovely PUBG Mobile Trick or Treat North America event that started all the way back on Halloween. And the teams have been grinding their way on through. So be sure to stay tuned and we'll be back in a short few moments. With the guys, welcome back. It is time for our final match. Match number 6 right here on our very last day of the finals, the grand finals for the PUBG Mobile Trick or Treat North America event. It has been running for the past, well, we are no, 4 weeks, right? Starting all the way back on Halloween. Wow. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. The teams have been grinding quite hard. And now we are going to be jumping into our final match to see what all that hard work will be bringing on through and where our teams are going to be ending up. I mean, Meter Shot, right, just 1 point ahead of the old gangsters. And that is going to make for a very, very exciting standoff to see who will be locking in those pole position finishes.
It's going to come down to the last final map of this event to see who's going to be taking that pole position, who's going to be taking the most amount of money, who's going to be our MVP for this tournament, taking an extra $200. Like we said, top team plus MVP could award you a total of $1,200 to take away from this community event. So it's going to come down to the wire, DK.
Oh yes, wire, whichever one you go for. It's going to be, yeah, a fight for the share of the prize pool, right? First place still sitting on that $1,000, trickling all the way down to 8th place, or as we like to call it, the 2nd, 7th place, which is then worth $200. And of course, our MVP at the end of this also then walking away with an additional $200. So a nice little bit of holiday time cash in the pocket there.
Oh yeah, no, just to add and line those pockets. But like we said, it is a tough opportunity for them to now place all of their bets to chip in all of their opportunities into a map like Sandhawk, one of the most chaotic maps. So little space to work with, and we've got 20 teams dropping on Sandhawk, all vying for the same opportunity, vying for the same placement. It is going to be tough for the teams at the top to keep their spots, and it is going to be tough for the teams just below them to suddenly catch on up. And I mean, as we take a look at it, the teams that are currently going to get some money after this, if they keep their spots, is going to be Meter Shot, Dope Esports, Excuse, Old Gangsters, Extreme Slayers, Care Bears, Friend Killers, and XO Zone. But I mean, 1 point away from XO Zone, it is GR Esports. At least it was. No, sorry, that was the previous map, so ignore those names. I was incorrect. Either way, I forgot to take a screenshot of the points. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I got it. It's Meter Shot, Old Gangsters, GR Esports, Dope Esports, Excuse, Extreme Slayers, Care Bears, and Clips Before Chicks, sitting in that 8th position on 35 points. I mean, the difference between 8th and 1st, yeah, it's about 28 points difference there. So, I mean, that could still change in one single game, as we know. But I'm curious to see just what kind of shift we will have as these teams get ready to step out into the jungle. Of course, they've all now boarded the plane, and we are going to be jumping across to see exactly where that flight path will be taking us. But more importantly, we need to see where that first zone is going to be appearing.
Yes, sirree. As we head on into the last map of the Trick or Treat PUBG Mobile event, it is going to be heading all the way from south to north, ending off there by Bong Nai. An opportunity for the teams, of course, to take some great rotations. It's Sandhawk. It's not like it's far. They will get to where they want to go. That zone might make all the difference, especially for that final opportunity, for the final few locations that are going to be involved. It is going to be interesting. Now curious to see where those hot tops will be. I'm already seeing a little bit of boot camp action, maybe a little bit of ruins action, and into the north we go.
Oh yes, it is Clips Before Chicks and the Old Gangsters going toe-to-toe up in boot camp. We do see Camp Bravo also having a nice little bit of love coming in that direction. It is Meter Shot and XO Zone. Yeah, I mean, a few points for the teams to kind of get the ball on the roll. But who's going to be the victors of boot camp, right? If it goes to Clips Before Chicks, right, that could be that much needed jump that they are looking for to get even higher earnings.
I'm going to get myself surprised. I'm just going to let myself not do the math as to who's going to be taking this at the end. It will come down to the wire, and I intend to let my brain think the same. So Clips by Chicks now, holding on into a very interesting setup here for them. We've got the Old Gangsters actually running that 2-2 split. So they're slowly but surely closing that gap. And it looks like Clips by Chicks might be rotating on out. Oh, they tried 24K, trying to leave at least a little bit of a buffer zone, but they will get caught on out.
Yeah, I mean, good play coming through here. Old Gangsters lining it up. We did see the Panthers up in Paradise Resort getting a little bit of action happening on that front. But now Gamer Goal is going to be the next one to fall. Alucard is going to be moving up for that res and does find it over onto a 24K. But it's going to be soft ops. Oh, looking to bounce. Mazexis also just trying to creep themselves a little bit closer. And then as we jump over to Camp Bravo, we can see Meter Shot and XO Zone in a bit of a standoff. No one wants to be the one to take that first initial push and potentially maybe expose themselves, but someone has to do that. As Meter Shot are currently the defenders of that pole position. But will they get it?
Meter Shot now. And an opportunity, of course, to pick up points. Same can go here for XO Zone. We've seen them do some crazy things in the past. What can they do here? Closing up that gap. That's a little bit of a stalemate. As you mentioned, neither side want to be the first one to go down. Neither side want to be now the second team to go down, as Excuse will be the first team to leave the lobby. Old Gangsters now going on for that hunt here by Clips by Chicks into the go. Dude 7. The surprise they were not looking for.
Yeah, and the Old Gangsters, right? They want to play for longevity because they're only 1 point away from Meter Shot. So the pressure is definitely going to be on. Curious to see whether or not they'll be able to get that bounce back. Oh, now look at this. It is going to be MP Somot finding one of the extreme slayers there. We still got Robin out in the wild, making their way on through. But will that mean that it could be a very, very big upset now coming through here onto the players from the Extreme Slayers? I mean, yeah, they've lost 3 down to 1. Wow, MP Somewhat just feeling absolutely amazing at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, any points right now are all going to be good points. We need to pick up anything and everything we can at this point in time, because it is most certainly not confirmed into the later phases. The teams are just going to get more and more crunched on into their own positions. They're going to be forced into those engagements. We have so many teams still alive, and the space is slowly but surely going to be running out. Team Aces. Wow, goodbye we go. And again, every single time we see a team drop, that is it. That is them for the tournament going on out.
Yeah, I mean, Team Aces, they've been relegated to that lower placement, right? So they started off the match in 20th, and that is the spot that they will maintain. But now look at this. It is going to be Psycho to get taken on down. Oh, Meter Shot in a bit of danger here. Oh, that is XO Zone slamming the door shut in their face. Not a single elimination. But this now presents the opportunity to the Old Gangsters to sneak in and take that pole position finish. But, I mean, which way is it going to go, though? Because, as we know, right, the Old Gangsters, they dropped up in that boot camp position. It was close, it was hot, it was spicy, but the Old Gangsters, they got 1. So that essentially is going to put them on a bit of a tie, right?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring it in. I'm all for it. A little bit of a change up right at the end. Dope Esports, they were the team that started off in pole position, have had some pretty tough games so far. Will they be able to change this one up? Will this be the map for them to turn it all around? And there's quite a bit of a question mark here, because they are currently, I believe they're only running with what, 3 right now? Oh, no, do they do have 4? Do they have 4? Somebody do
Yeah, no, they've got a full squad. They got a full squad. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, they had a 3-man earlier on, which, you know, obviously doesn't help you, because every single time you head on into the action, you're on a back foot. Now, it's the full numbers in. Let's see if this could be the game.
Yeah. Let's see whether or not it is going to be. I mean, Dope at this point in time, trailing by, what is that, 16 points? Right? That's all they need. 16 points. Well, yeah, 16, 17 points to take that pole slot finish. Of course, again, the players from GR Esports, they are only trailing by 8. So if they find 9, that could mean that pole position finish. And of course, that lovely $1,000 in the bag as well. But oh, it is going to be a nade getting sent over on towards Bambi. The shots connect on through. Now the Panthers trying to defend that Paradise Resort position, but it is MP somewhat now sending up quite a bit of aggression. But MP reduced down to 1, now trying to patch back up the rest of the team. And this is the opportunity for the Panthers to maybe close it on through.
They have to go now, though. They can't give that timing away. They can't give them that opportunity to reset. Nuclear Power in a similar situation, taking on the likes of Dope Esports. We've been seeing what Dope Esports can do now with a full squad. They've taken out at least one here from Nuclear Power. Back to a little bit of Paradise Resort, back to Nuclear Power. It is a little bit of a jump up because all of these contentions are breaking out at the exact same moment. Very crucial fights all around. We've got Dope picking up another from Nuclear Power, finding the second, finding the third, potentially. Here it comes, and it is Nuclear Power will bow on out as our, I think, 16th team, 15th team, Zexus. Yeah. Here they come.
Also looking to come in with a bit of a rush. Oh, Zexus now in such a powerful position, right? They took out MP somewhat right there, and that does allow them to potentially close the gap. I mean, MP somewhat coming in on with 26 points, Zexus starting on 19, right? So this is definitely the opportunity for them to maybe just close the gap and make a dash for that top 8. But will it be on the cards? Now as we look onto the Golden Boys or the Golden Eagles, they could bring in the upset, right? Because they have control as to whether or not Dope find any continuation from here or whether or not it will be the end of the road for them.
Let's take a look at this one. The Golden Boys moving on in. A lovely little opportunity, you know, right in terms of the line of sight that they have to work with Dope Esports. They could be contested here for that next zone shift. Depending on where it's going to be heading, maybe Golden Eagles might be the determining factor, but they are getting a few shots in exchange. So they do need to be careful, keeping a line of sight on all of the teams in the vicinity. We still got Level X moving on in. Mitsuki doing the damage, but such a far reach does mean that the options are limited for those confirmations.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of a limiting factor here. But now as we jump back into that Paradise Resort, it's going to be Nucleotide. Oh, making their way on through. They've got Pope just on the opposite end. Will they be able to find those hits though? Level X also now still continuing on with a branch here, taking quite a few hits in exchange. But also, one of the teams that could maybe look to put in a bit of an upset, right? They started off this match with only 15 points on board. So I don't see them catching that 8th position finish potentially, but it still gives them quite a bit of power here. And I mean, they're in a very similar position to the Golden Eagles themselves. So they want to see what these teams are going to be doing and just how much of a play they're going to be looking to bring through.
Dope still holding on to the thread. 4 eliminations for them so long, and now, oh, look at this one just around the corner. Drago's going to get an immediate, sudden realization that, well, there's an entire team waiting for you on the other side of that rock. Almost a turnaround, but Janji going to be caught on out. Dope now returned to only 2 members as they try to get those reses on up. Boom, boom, boom. It goes through. Golden. They need to catch on up. They need to get the hit on in. Dope Esports have to go down now, or they might turn this one around. But it is up to Casper, the friendly ghost, to come on in. Will they be able to clutch it out?
Oh, Casper now almost sweating bullets, right? Yep, there we go. It is the end of the road for Dope. Yeah, not sure if that was enough, but still, at least they are sitting within that top 8. But this opens the floodgates for the rest of the teams to try and bring it on through. I mean, Nucleotide started off with 30 points on the board. And we know 8th place is where the prize money is at, right? So only 5 points to go. Could definitely be something that they are well within reach of accomplishing. Oh, but look at the nades are getting sent out. There's a nice bit of a back and forth here between Mazexus and Nucleotide. Let's see, Dreams about to get hit. Up comes the bounce. Oh, finds a bit of damage, but not sufficiently so. Not getting that knock-in.
No opportunity for that one this time around, but there is still a little bit more time to work with here.
Let's see. Here we go. The X's. Oh, they've got a knock on their side. Oh, but they find it up. It's going to be Jules to get knocked on down. Are they going to be able to push in that extra little a bit? Oh, Power trying to hold on to the angle here. But Muddy also playing a very, very sneaky game. Will they be able to get it though? I mean, it is Puppy, it is Dreams. The final two contenders are left for the side of Mizexes, but it is going to be Clips before Chicks now also joining the party.
Run away, run away, run away. That is the only option right now. Alucard going to be sending in that molly. Just, I want to say goodbye, but yeah, no, it is a goodbye. I am so sorry. But at least, at the very least, they still have two members up. Maybe they can get those reses on in. Dreams will be spotted on out. Yeah, here, making that rotation in, trying to get the res. Clips by Chicks holding that line. They need to get on in. Again, this is a 2v3 situation, so they have that initial knock. I would have loved, obviously, if they had the information I would love to see them now take that push, but it's a bit too late. The res has popped off. It's back to that 2v3. And they need to buy their time a little bit because all of this happening outside of the zone, they might just need to prioritize that rotation.
Yeah. I mean, there is going to be a lot of prioritizing that needs to be done here. As we know, the blue zone over on Sanok, not the kind of zone that we've seen across our maps here. But yeah, the opportunity is still there, right? Still 12 teams remaining. And I mean, not a lot of teams really securing crazy amount of eliminations. Aside from Mizexes with 7, I mean, Clips before Chicks, we can see sitting on 4. We've got the Golden Eagles or the Golden Boys sitting on 4 as well, alongside the players there from XO Zone and Level X themselves. So, yeah, let's see what they can do.
Let's see what they can do. Indeed, what an opportunity now for these teams to turn it around. But here it is, both esports, they're going to get some information. Level X making that rotation on in. Golden Eagles trying to scramble, looking for opportunities. Trip finding that first one, looking for the second. Let's get the second. What a turnaround. Level X esports all of a sudden reduced down to only one, thanks to, once again, who is it?
Wow.
It is Trip moving in with the clutch plays.
Oh, some pretty insane plays indeed. But now, Golden Eagles trying to see if they can find any potential opportunities. They don't want to be left behind, but Trip on an absolute rampage there. It now is down to Shadow GT, the final hopeful for the side of Level X. And I mean, talk about Bope now, just leveling the playing field. I mean, that was insane shot coming through from Trip.
You gotta love it. You absolutely got to love it. But we've seen them do that before. I mean, on a Wrangle, they picked up that 1v2. And I think it was also against Level X Esports. So, Level X, they have been battered, they have been beaten, they have been bruised into today's games. And it's all off of the back of some really, really awesome individual just prowess that has been moving in. XO Zone making a rotation. They are in that eastern side. They've got a very good line of sight onto the likes of the Golden Boys. But I don't think they're going to be taking that engagement right now. They have to wait for a few more teams to move on in. Ooh, they will be finding GR, however. Reaching all the way across to that northern side. Trip now, all of a sudden, all of that clutch plays. Yeah, that might be it.
Oh, yes, that is indeed it. As a Shadow GT locks it up, gets the knock, and now just yeets themselves right out of that pressure play, trying to find a little bit more of a favorable position to call home for the time being. But I don't think that's really going to be an option. Nope, instead, it is Liangji taking them right on down and sending them on their merry, merry way. GR Esports, however, still in a very contentious position, but now trying to piece that play back together as the zone has taken a shift and now moved up in favor of the Clips before Chicks team. But look at this, Liangji now finds the next hit up into Beowulf.
Hey, we love to see it. A little bit of back and forth action here. The teams with an opportunity to take out the competition, and why wouldn't you? It's just going to give you some space moving into that zone. Currently, the only team within center is going to be Clips by Chicks. They are one of the only few teams that do not have to make a rotation. XO Zone, they need to close this one out. They are going to be moving in from the northern side, allowing a lot of angles for a few of these other teams to get a shot into them. We can see even Golden Boys right into center, but right in front of Exozone.
Ooh, up comes the pressure. Nice. Top Boy gets that knock secured. Oh, but it is starting to crumble. The pressure is absolutely on it. And now it is going to be Mazexes putting their farewells as they also then get sent away with 9 eliminations to their name, though. So not a bad run. But we still have 10 teams in contention here. 21 players alive. The Care Bears, they've got control of that northern territory for the time being. But are they going to be able to secure that once again? Now having to cross all the way back down to that far southern edge. And this is where things still look amazingly favorable for the Clips Before Chicks team. But Beowulf yet again getting hit in the face. Liang Zina also getting traded. Yeah, this is such a difficult play coming through here. And Exozone trying to pick it back up.
Trick or treat, baby. And unfortunately, Golden Eagles right now being tricked more than anything else. It is going to be down to only enemy to hold the line here to try and get them a little bit more points. Again, anything matters. This is the last map. You want to take anything and everything you possibly can. So they have those 5 eliminations. That's great. Now let's add on to that tally with some placements. They're going to have to just hide it out. They're going to have to hold the line. Clips by Chicks, we said it, one of the few teams in the center, now finding Care Bears. All of a sudden, it is turning into a farm here for Clips by Chicks.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to farm as many elims as they can. Now we got Reed just holding off in the distance there, over towards that western side. But the pressure now coming through back on the north as the Exozone team tries to find that opening, tries to find that position to call home. But first, they got to blaze their way on through. But look at that. It's going to be Fierce coming in with a nice bit of a play. But Blinky now overpowering them. And it turns to 24K left to defend the honor here for Clips Before Chicks. And up they come. The spray is in. And it is 24K getting the job done.
Surprise, surprise. Here we have it. Clips by Chicks. Absolutely. They are... Well, they're prepping a couple of clips. But now... what can they do up against Manic? We did see that zone actually now move towards the southern portion. It is going to be a 2v3 scenario, obviously, in favor of Manic for a second time. So they have zone, they have the numbers, they have the line of sight, the information, everything just looking like a perfect storm right now for Manic. Clips by Chicks having to make that rotation in. If they can get an opener here, if they can find at least one, they might relieve them an opportunity to move on in from the eastern side.
Oh, but now it all comes down to this last bit of rotation. It is 24K just running right over Fears. Oh, but that is not Clips Before Chicks. Fearless as they do get taken on down. 24K now trying to make that last bit of a push. Does find the hit now. Oh, Onion. The player standing between 24K and that winner chicken dinner. But Onion instead going to try and pull off the rest, keeping a little bit of that third party peeking going on as well. Ooh, here we go. 24K this way and that. There's going to be a dance around the rock, ducking in and out of the blue. Yes. But it is 24K locking in that winner chicken dinner. And Clips Before Chicks walk away victorious, picking up 12 eliminations.
That was beautiful. I mean, what a clutch to use that bait and switch in the last moment to find that opening engagement. Like I said, towards that eastern side, that put it down to a 1v2, right? And then 24K just with the utter confidence of an absolute legend moved in, found that second elimination. There was a little bit of hesitation coming through from Manic. There's a res, no, it's not a res, yes, it's a res, no, it's not a res. And that gave the time that 24K needed to close that gap and finish it off.
Yes, finish it off indeed. Yes, 100% agree with you on that. That's exactly what they did. But yeah, 24K with an insane clutch, right? Picking up 7 eliminations. And I think we've got a pretty good idea who our MVP is going to be, right? I think it's going to be a nice and shiny MVP. Let's see, are we correct?
Oh.
No, we're wrong.
We are very wrong.
Also 7 though. I mean, that's pretty great though. 1,211 damage being brought in, and it is none other than Mazexes stealing the MVP slot. Well done to Dreams.
Okay, well, yeah, we shall be incorrect, but 24K. I mean, I will give them my MVP because they brought in such a beautiful 1v3 clutch. Clips by Chicks. What an emphatic win there towards their end. Honestly, they had nothing. They had nothing going for them, but they made a fantastic opportunity open up for themselves. So Mazexis coming through in 11th with those 9 eliminations. Very, very nice indeed. Exozone following suit with 8. And Manic, our second place team, only picked up those 6 eliminations into the end, but they had a fantastic rotation. They put themselves into the best possible footing and best possible opportunity to take a winner chicken dinner. They just didn't think about 24K running around and doing a 1v3 clutch.
Yeah, I mean, 24K just enabled that boss mode, right?
Oh, yes.
Just going for the GOAT, and that's what they were trying to accomplish. And I mean, job well done. 12 eliminations in total for the team there of Clips before Chicks. Mazex is, of course, picking up their respective 9 elims. And then Exozone sitting on 8. So we do see a little bit of the top-heavy performance coming through here, but I gotta love the effort. I mean, again, a lot of damage being locked in across the board.
Absolutely. Today in general has just been such an engaging, map after map after map. We see these teams taking on a lot of fights, and for some, they have been really successful. For others, maybe not so much. You can see on the edge of the leaderboard, we can see on the edge of these points, they didn't really get an opportunity to pick up much. But now, all is said and done. All 6 maps done and dusted for the Grand Finals weekend. So we need to find out, we need to see who is the champions of the Trick or Treat PUBG Mobile event.
Oh, yes, it is going to come down to what these teams were able to accomplish. I mean, we've been seeing them doing the work all over the place, right? Surprising us with whatever they can bring on through. And I mean, we do see these beautiful clutches come in. We've seen some insane nades. We've seen some pretty bold rotations come through. We've seen quite a bit of PUBG action, but it's all going to come down to what the overall rankings have in store for us. I mean, based on what we had, right? I don't know whether or not Old Gangster and Beat the Shot are holding on to pole position anymore. I think there might have been a bit of a change come through. We won't know until we see, of course, those exact results popping in. But, I've just got a bit of a sneaky suspicion as to what could potentially have happened here.
Again, this is why we don't do the math in the back end. Thankfully, someone else has to do that because I would mess up a lot of numbers, and that means money will not be going to the right place. I'm very impressed with the teams today. They brought in a lot of action for us. They brought in a lot of very interesting engagements. We had some crazy zones that the teams had to work with. A very couple of tough phases that they had to really immediately change their strategy for. So far, teams, they've been stepping it up. Yesterday was no surprise as well. Teams just managing to bring in that action, and I guess that's the whole reason that they made it into the Grand Finals. But it has been a gauntlet for them. Like you said, we started all the way, well, on Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah.
And now we're dressing up at the end of November, but at least we're getting through into the Grand Finals.
I mean, it shows the commitment, right? So we started on Halloween. We've made it all the way to Thanksgiving, right? So, it's all the way across the board. And of course, happy Thanksgiving to everyone that celebrates it. We probably should have said that yesterday already because it is, also Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of those lovely things all happening at the same time. But, there's only one thing left to do. We need to see what the point situation is and where the teams are then situated. And of course, we can get our rolling potatoes to go somewhere.
I disappear if I roll too much. There's just a little bit of a delay as they are making sure that all the points are correct. But yeah, I mean, in terms of today, what are some of the highlight moments? You can't use that clutch from 24K because obviously that one just happened and that one was insane. Any other standout moments for you today, DK?
Stand on moments.
Stand out.
Oh yeah, stand out. Sure. That one I can speak to. I have to say, the engagement that we had coming through all the way back in towards on Erangel, right, that we had happening up in that ruins position, right? It was just a little bit of a sweaty play before we started to move towards that beautiful bridge split that we have up on the river. I mean, the whole proceeding there, I just love that extra bit of insanity coming through, and the team's really having to kind of, you know, piece that play back together. For me, it was super exciting to watch.
That one was a pretty interesting thing. I also like the fact that we saw Erangel shifting up to be such a contentious point. I mean, Jaden, Carebears, they picked up that crazy 1v3 clutch for me right at the beginning of the day. And, you know, they were if they had any other bit of cover, if it was in any different scenario, any different little bit of terrain, maybe it might have ended up a little bit differently. But unfortunately, it was just absolute chaos.
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
We're getting some information.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
All right. Oh, wow. So we're getting a bit of an update here. Of course, our winner is going through. Yeah, going through to meet the shot. But I mean, if you want to talk about close, right? The points are insanely close, hence the slight bit of a delay that we had in you getting the results out. You know, you have to double check everything. But look at this. It is Meter Shot and the Old Gangsters sitting right then and there on 63 points apiece. With, of course, the players from Meter Shot sitting with the higher ranking points on 36. But it's the Old Gangsters sitting on 28 eliminations, right?
Oh.
And both teams sitting on the exact same amount of winner chicken dinners.
So what, that is a double tiebreaker that had to come on through.
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, come on. We saw so much chaos today that, you know, this is just fitting. Congratulations to Meter Shot, however. It looks like they did get that win at the end of the day. Again, someone else will obviously reach out to the relevant parties and confirm the relevant things, but 63 points was the gap. We saw clips by Chicks getting so close to that as well, with that final push from 24k up into third place. So we'll be congratulating them as well. As a result, of course, GR Esports dropping down, Dope dropping down, Carebears picking up a little bit of pacing, tying up with Dope Esports. Then it is Excuse and the Extreme Slayers to pick up a share of that prize pool. So congratulations to the teams. They made it happen. What a grind, what a gauntlet they had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, not only did we have an absolute difficult performance, but we did see clips before Chicks taking that jump from 8th place all the way up into 3rd. But there we have it. Our winners are going to be Meter Shot. And that is, well, because they have more ranking points, right? So it's points, then rank, then chicken dinners or something. I don't know, whatever the exact breakdown is for what such an insane tie would you know, really require to be the deciding factors. But either which way, well done, well played. And of course, we also then need to take a bit of a look, right, at our hidden potatoes, right? We have the other award also then going out to our MVP, but I'm pretty sure if we're not going to be showing it on here today, that will definitely be posted out on social media. But I gotta say, this whole event has been an absolute treat. The teams bring in some really phenomenal gameplay. I mean, yes, we know this is community level, but still, it was quite exciting to watch.
Yeah, look, we have to take a lot of things as to, you know, in terms of the analysis that we bring in with a bit of a pinch of salt. It's community levels. There is a varying range of experience. There's a varying range of strategies that these teams are going to employ, and that is to be expected. We had some crazy zones, we had some crazy opportunities, but ultimately, it's just good to see the community coming together, bringing in those performances, and who knows, maybe we might see a few of these names later on in some of the other leagues, into the other phases. So we'll be very interested to see what they can bring forth into the future.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. But I think on that note, it brings us to the end of our evening's proceedings, right? It's been an absolute glorious time casting these teams. And of course, thank you to US Proxy for joining us right here on the desk as well. And thank you for everyone that has tuned in to support the teams along their journey to make it all the way up here to our grand finale, the second day in those final few matches. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. We look forward to seeing you back in future events. Until then, have an absolutely amazing festive time, right? I mean, this is the final stretch of the year. And have an amazing one.
Girl, I wanna get swept away. Kiss your sweet lips every day, over and over again. Find a love that'll never end and have a few kids, settle down. Find a spot on the edge of town, sit on that porch swing. Living life just you and me, girl, riding that edge, chasing that sun.